Hi everyone, welcome to the FF Salon at Money 2020. My name is Emily Redding.
I'm Jim Marous from the Financial Brand and Banking Transformed podcast.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Jim. I know that you know the FF guys really, really well. Yeah. Yes, you've been here before, so
I've been on both sides of the mic for you. Yeah.
Great. Well, it's lovely to have you back. Thank you so much for joining me. You've also met Jose as well, our fabulous hairstylist.
Well, we'll find out how fabulous he is when he's done, right?
I promise you, you're in very safe hands. Right. Okay, should we jump straight into the questions? Fantastic. To start off, Jim, why don't you tell me just a little bit about your organisation and what you do?
Well, for those who don't know, I am a content creator. So started 14 years ago writing for the Financial Brand and started actually as a blogger and then joined the Financial Brand as a writer for the banking industry. My entire career has been in banking since I was 21 years old. And so I've been on both sides of the desk. I've been both a banker, I've been a provider to financial institutions, and now I'm a content creator for financial institutions. Reason I'm a content creator is that at a certain age, I said, I don't want the chance of becoming irrelevant. So I said, if I write about what's going on in the industry, that forces you to continually learn. And on top of that, I also bought a research company at the same time. When you dig down even deeper, you're able to learn deeper and then share that with others. And that's been my passion, is really not just doing the generation of ideas, but then sharing them immediately, so you have to fill up that intelligence bucket some more. And then 3 years ago, I started a podcast, and that's been the most fun initiative I've had, only because every week, twice a week, I'm doing an interview with somebody who I've not met before in many cases, and get to dig deep into what makes them special, what makes their company special, what challenges they're facing. And then people listen to that to, again, learn what to avoid or what to double down on.
That is awesome. Okay, so I feel like I'm interviewing very much an expert in this field and industry.
No, I'm surrounded by experts. That's what's good. I don't have to be smart myself. I have to surround myself with smart people.
Yes, well, it's a great way to be. Let's dive in a little bit into kind of what motivates you, Jim? Why did you choose banking? Why did you initially go into this industry?
You know, it's interesting. Going back through the years, so many things have changed, but so much has stayed the same. The challenges are still the same. We're trying to develop better experience for consumers. We have a lot more tools now than we did before. We only had branches before and employees. That's basically the only way people did banking. And in the United States and almost everywhere, they're getting paid by checks, and they had to come into the bank, forced to come into the bank, to actually deposit them or cash them, whatever happened. We had older customers that would continually update their passbook savings accounts at the branch once a quarter. So we had days that were massively overrun by consumers, by customers, having to do banking. Well, with digital banking, all the change, the initiatives are still important. You still have to do the transactions well. You have to be accurate on the transactions. But what you have to look is, how can I build a better experience? How can I make it where banking becomes less of something I have to, I'm gonna take Brett King's kind, something less about where I have to go, but more about what I'm doing.
Right.
And more importantly, we're at Money 2020. There are thousands of people, I think 7,000 or 8,000, maybe it's more people here, and there's hundreds upon hundreds of organizations trying to find the solutions that are make banking better for the end consumer.
More efficient,
easier. That
easier.
just shows how much is changing. I looked, when I came here 2 days or 3 days ago, I looked over from where we were perched on top of the event, and there's room after room of companies that honestly, I've never heard of before, and I couldn't tell you what they're doing. So as I go from booth to booth, I'm trying to find out, what is your initiative?
Where
are you going, and why are you making it better? This is exciting because while it's extraordinarily challenging and harder to be a good bank now than it ever has been, it's more opportunity than there's ever been to be that good bank.
Okay, why do you think it's harder to be a good bank now?
Because we're stuck in our old ways. I often say that many banks are still run by a group of leaders that are a bunch of white men that had played golf together as management trainees. And they may have brought in some outsiders, some people that are different than them, but they still have their legacy group. And that legacy group has brought profitability to the bank that they work for, or the organization they work for decades. Why change if it's not broken? It's like when a person goes to a doctor and gets told, you got to change this habit and this habit. They're going, yeah, I'm doing okay, thanks. Until the doctor says, you know, we got a problem here. And it's amazing how we make change happen then. I'm lucky in my podcasts and my writings, I'm interviewing people and realizing the one thing that is more important than anything else in this whole idea of change, it's not the technology.
No.
It's the people. It's the people with the leadership, and then it's also, how do you make it so that the people that are going to be impacted by change, the people that are going to be impacted by technology, robotics, AI, whatever it may be, how can we make them feel comfortable that they're part of the digital future? Because change sucks. Nobody wants to change. But it's an exciting opportunity because, you know, I don't know what your career path is, but if you've made major changes in your career path, those are the most exciting moments in your life. Because you say, I did something that I wasn't even sure if I could do. And I'm lucky that my wife and my child both have done the same thing. They've gone into careers or into sports and completely changed what they were comfortable with and got so much stronger because of that.
If someone's watching this and they're thinking of doing that, they're fairly early on in their career, what's your advice? What's your do's and don'ts? Because sometimes that's more important. Everyone can say, get out there, talk to people, take chances, but what are some of the things you think, avoid that, don't make that mistake?
Keep the big vision in your mind. Know your why. Why am I going to do what I'm going to do? And then break it into parts. There's no reason to boil an ocean, as they say. Dip your toe into it. You know, even in financial institutions, it's the same story. You're not going to have to do a complete core conversion, but you are going to have to fix the things that are broken first. So if you know your why, if you know what you're going to move towards as a vision, but then break that vision apart and say, okay, now what is my mini why? How do I take care of the biggest challenge first? I mean, COVID was a great opportunity. I make fun of the fact that if you were a collector of little Matchbox cars, you can build a business all around that because the internet allows you the opportunity, if you have an interest, to double down and make money on that interest. If you're in a place where you're saying, I hate my job, change it. Now that, as you said, that's easier said than done. Well, you can do it in steps. I was still doing my traditional job as I was building my blog, so there was no risk. Yeah. If my blog failed, okay. But if it succeeded, the company I worked for succeeded and I succeeded. I broke it down in little parts. I started with just a magazine type blog. I then got into the research company. I then got into, you know, podcasting. I've gotten into report writing. I've gotten into webinars and other things like that. Break it into parts and then see if you like it.
Yeah.
You know, and especially if you're young, and this is so important, you have very little at stake. You're usually not paying for a mortgage. You're usually not having to finance children. You're not married. Make those challenges, go those paths, not, as you said, knock some of them out.
Yeah.
And say, guess what?
This
wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Not for me.
This sucks.
Yes.
Yeah, but change the other things. And it's important. It sounds, as you said, it sounds easy, but I think the thing to avoid is trying to build something too big, too fast. And if you're in content, as I am, and Ali, we've talked about this many times, how are you going to be able to deliver on a consistent basis so people know when to find you without looking? They're gonna, for me, they know they're going to usually see me on a Monday morning in my my webinar or in my financial brand writings.
There's a pace.
You're going to get my podcast. You're going to get my sequence. You're going to get my repetitiveness, and I'm going to be there when you look for me. So that's key.
That's great advice. I like the idea of the big wins and the mini wins.
Yeah.
And the whys as well. So keep your big why, but then there may be some other mini whys
that you've got to
stack up.
Actually.
That is a great, it's a mantra.
A lesson for life is that what you want to leave your child with is know your why.
Yeah.
You know, and then don't be afraid to make a risk, take a chance. It ain't going to kill you. It really isn't. It feels like it, but it's not going to kill you.
Change is scary, but sometimes necessary.
Yeah.
This is looking great. This is looking absolutely great. I think I've got
I'm bald!
I've got one more question for you. Ali told me to ask you.
Oh, you're going to blame it on somebody else.
The bar at Taboo story. I have no idea what I've just...
Good line, good start, good ending line. So the first time I was here, I had a dinner with IBM on the main most eccentric, eclectic street in Amsterdam. And I was at the bar, but I was there early. So I sat down at the bar, black and blue, and looked at the street, people watched. And there were so many interesting bars with all kinds of diverse groups in every one of these bars. And while I wasn't a part of any of these diverse groups, many of them really intrigued me because the people were having a blast, and it's so much fun to see people having fun.
I agree.
The next night, I just happened to be in the fruit and the flower area, the alley where that is, and that's only one alley from where I was the night before. So I went back and had a drink at one of the bars that I was talking about called Taboo. And I made a great friend at the bar, a woman that was extraordinarily crazy. She has a lot of coworkers that are even crazier than she is. And so last night, I go, well, third night in a row, I got to make it a third night in a row. They started knowing me by name, but you have to realize that most of the regulars there could not figure out for a world how she would know my name. I'm a banker. It's not their normal clientele, but we were having a blast. And again, Amsterdam is such a diverse environment overall. But one thing they have is a lot of fun. Yeah. And it doesn't hurt that the sun doesn't set till like 10:30. So I told my family back home, hey, I promise you I'll be back within an hour after sunset. I was, but that was quite late.
That is a great story. Well, thank you for sharing. I wasn't quite sure what I was asking, but I'm glad I did, because that was a good story. I think we're ready for the chair, so we want to have a look at your hair?
Okay, hey.
There you go, that's better.
Good and clean.
Yeah.
That's
that
nice.
Is great.
Perfect.
Super
Thank
sharp.
you very much.
Well, Jim, thank you. It
Thank
has
you.
been such a pleasure
Oh,
today. It's
great.
been great.